Hello, my name is Zazie and you're welcome to my channel. If this is your first time being here, you must know that I give out very interesting trading tips, and I also show you videos on the analysis that I did on trades that brought about very amazing and interesting profits. Right. So here I will be showing you an analysis I did on Boom 1000. I sent a signal on my premium channel about 4 days ago, and the trade hit take profits yesterday. So the trade lasted for about 3 days, and it was very nice. It was amazing. And today, here and now, I will be showing you the things that I saw in the charts that made me take that trade. One interesting thing about my videos is that if you do not have the opportunity of signing up for a mentorship program with me, and you already have the idea of trading and you watch my videos, you will know how I trade, you will understand fully how I trade, and you might be able to trade like me, right? If you pay close attention to the things that I look out for in the charts, and you really, do your own study and all of that, you just might be able to get the hack like me. All right, so you're welcome again. So let's just get right to it. On my screen here, I have 3 lines. So there is a red line, the black line, and the green line. So here are the coordinates for the trades that I took, right? So the red line is the stop loss, the black line was the entry, and then the green line was where the price, I had my take profit. The trade is done now, and it was amazing. So I'll just show you what I did, and you can go check it out on your own as well. Right, so I initially looked at this market from the daily time frame, right? I saw that there was an existing, the first time I was analyzing this chart, I noticed that there was an existing uptrend, and I saw how price was moving in the up direction for a while, right? And then I spotted this area of reversal, and I saw how price started coming all the way to the downside, right? I was very patient with this market. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but I had my trend line drawn, and I was patient to see what price would give to me when it's eventually plays out. So I had my trend line drawn, and then when price broke out of the trend line, I knew that it was a good reason for me to finally get in, right? So I saw the breakout with this very solid candle right here. The breakouts first tried to happen with some couple of candles here, but it wasn't solid because it was just the wicks that broke out of the market. I needed something solid. I needed an actual candle to fully break out of this trend line to tell me that price was indeed going to sell, and that was what happened eventually. And then this thing happened. Price broke out with this solid candle, and I missed the trade at the initial breakout, and I'm lucky that I did, because you can see here that there was some sort of major pullback all the way to this area. And if some people who had sent the trade and some people who had low equity had taken the trade, they probably would have lost a good amount of money. So I'm glad I didn't see that at the time. And then price sold beautifully and then went back up here for a retest. I eventually cut the trade when the retest happened, but that wasn't the only thing that I was looking out for. I saw this break of the trend line on the daily time frame. It looked good, but then again I went to smaller time frames to confirm other things, smaller time frames like the H4 and the H1, but my main focus at the time was the H1. I saw a very interesting chart pattern that I've not seen in a while. Maybe not seen in a while, but I've not really traded with this chart pattern in a while, to be very honest. I've been trading with other chart patterns. I've probably not traded taking trades in charts that had this particular pattern, right? So when I saw this pattern, it just made me feel good, because I knew that it was going to be very solid. So originally, I could see from my daily time frame that price had broken the uptrend, and of course, with the break and retest in that uptrend on the daily time frame, I knew that market would be selling. So that was something that told me that that sell would likely happen, right? So after that happened, right, coming to the H1 time frame, I saw that interesting chart pattern, and this chart pattern, interestingly, a student of mine also saw it as well, right? And then she shared it with me, and it was very funny, because while she shared it with me, she said she took a trade on it, she made some good profits, and then I shared her my screenshots as well. I was like, yo, I also took this trade, and it was just really interesting. Anyways, so this was the chart pattern that I saw here. Another interesting chart pattern here. And if you know your patterns very well, if you are a price action trader and you are very crazy about chart patterns like I am, you would know that this chart pattern is what we call a rising wedge, right? A rising wedge is a bearish chart pattern. That means that price is definitely going to fall, right? Or that gives us an idea that market is going to fall. Nothing is definite in the market, to be honest, right? So Seeing this chart pattern and seeing how price broke out of this wedge, right, it was a very good reason to sell, although I did not see the breakouts at the immediate time. So if I had seen the breakout at this point right here, maybe I'd have taken my sell from the earlier point, which was the end or the close of this particular candle here, right? But I didn't notice that at the time, so I took the sell from this point right here. And one interesting thing about breakouts and these patterns for me sometimes is that as much as it is important to wait for a retest, there are some patterns and the way breakouts happen in the patterns, you don't necessarily need to wait for retest. I'm not going to show you or explain all of that in this video, but maybe in another video I would explain the things to look out for and reasons or reasons to actually wait for a retest. But in this case, I didn't get any reason to wait for a retest. Also coupled with the fact that I was also looking at it from the daily time frame, so I already had everything that I needed on the daily time frame. To be honest, I didn't really need to stress much waiting for a retest in this area. Also, if there was going to be a retest, how will it happen? Would price now go all the way up to this level? I didn't see that happening, to be honest. So I knew that my sell was still valid. It was still good for me to take that sell, and I took the sell. Right, so let's see if we had anything interesting on the H4 time frame. On the H4 time frame, there wasn't so much to see there, apart from the fact that if we had looked at it in the level, sorry, just right here, if we had looked at it like this as well, we would have also seen that there was a minor uptrend, or there was a time when price was going up, but then again, price broke out of that uptrend. And if you look at the candles right here, let me zoom in a bit. If you look at the candles in this area, you see the first breakout happened here, right? This was also something very interesting. You see the first breakout happened here with this candle here, and price sold and then came back up for a retest. One other interesting thing about this chart in the H4 time frame is the fact, let me just take out these lines so that we can see things clearly. Oops, I took that out, so I'll just draw it again. Right. So apart from the fact that we had this uptrend that price also broke out of, something else that stood out for me was this supply zone here. Very solid. If you study the way I trade, if you've been following me for a while, you know that amongst the analysis that I do with my price action strategy is demand and supply. Demand and supply, very, very strong way to analyze the market. All right. Maybe one of these days, again, I will probably make a video to show you how I identify or how to identify demand and supply zones. But demand and supply, very, very important. They help you make massive moves in the market. Right. So there was a very solid supply zone here that was going to be tested for the first time. Right. So the test was happening for the first time. When price came into the supply zone, we could see some dodges, and eventually we had a very solid bearish candle. So after the period of indecision for about, say, 12 hours, right, because this is a H4 time frame. So after the period of indecision for about 12 hours, finally there was a decision in the market, and the decision was bearish, completely solidly bearish. So that was the confirmation that we needed. We already had other reasons to take the trade, right? Daily time frame has shown us the break in the trend line, the break and the retest that I showed you earlier. The H1 time frame also showed us the rising wedge, which is a bearish chart pattern that I also showed you. And then here again in the H4, we could see how price broke out of this trend line, tested first at the breakout of the trend line. It created a supply zone. And another interesting thing about this supply zone area is the fact that we initially had a demand zone here. Let me just take this off for a bit first. We initially had a demand zone right here that was broken, right? This demand zone was broken, and while this demand zone was broken, what broke the demand zone ended up forming for us a new supply. So that demand zone was broken, broke the demand zone, broke the trend line, created a new supply for us. And then while the breakout happened, price came back for a retest, retesting the trend line, retesting that new strong supply zone that had just been formed. With the dodgy candle, giving us the whole indecision thing, we finally had a candlestick that gave us that confirmation that we eventually needed for that sell. Right? So it was solid, it was interesting. Everything pointed towards the bearish direction. I barely saw anything that told us that the market was going to buy. I had all of the reasons to sell in this market, so I was super confident. And the interesting thing about this trade is that when I took the trade, there was no single drawdown. There was no single drawdown. When I send, so because of the fact that I send signals to people, I try as much as possible to make sure that my entry is solid, because I don't know the sizes of everybody's accounts, right? Some people might have, some small equity, others might have really large equity and all of that. So I try to be very considerate when I'm analyzing the market, so that I am taking my entry from a point where there will be little or no drawdown, right? So everyone is happy, everyone takes a trade, makes money, and everyone is happy. I mean, it's not 100% all the time, but my win rate is super, super, super high. And then when people take the trade, they're just, really excited that they've made money. So yeah, that was what happened in the Boom 1000. So all of the analysis that I didn't go beyond the H1 time frame. I started first with the daily time frame, then to the H4, then to the H1. I didn't go beyond the H1 time frame. I don't like to mess with smaller time frames. It's not really my style of trading. I like to hold trades for a long time. So like I told you before, this trade lasted for 3 days, right? And then on the third day, price eventually hit CP. So you can see where my stop loss was at, and then you can see where my take profit was at. So you can see that my risk to reward was also very amazing. When I also send out signals, I try as much as possible that my risk to reward is not less than 1 to 2. Sometimes it's more, could be 1 to 3, 1 to 4, but it is never less than 1 to 2. So it means if I am risking $10 on a trade, my profit is from $20 and above, right? So that at the end of the day, when we sum up all of the trades that we've taken, we end up being in profits based on the right amount of risk management system that I'm using, right? So that's that about this analysis on Boom 1000, right? I have some other trades that I have taken that ended up being profitable and all of that. When I do have the time, I'll try to make another video to show you the trades that I took, how they turned out, and the analysis that I did, right? So I'll do my best to always ensure that I share more videos as often as possible. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe, turn on your post notification, because I would always, always, always show you interesting trading hacks. Everything that I show you in this video, everything that I show you about my analysis is what I actually do, right? I don't do anything else other than this. I'm a pure price action trader. I do not mess with indicators at all. I don't have a single indicator that I use. I just analyze the naked chart, and I trade based on everything that the market shows me, right? I trade based on candlesticks, based on zones, based on the trend of the market and all of those things. And it's super, super, super easy, So if you're just watching me, if you're just watching this, please hit the subscribe button. You can also drop your comments. If you have questions or comments, drop it. I'll be checking out every comment, and I'll be sure to respond to every single one of them. Also, feel free to follow me on my social media platforms. I'm always online. I'm always ready to respond to people. I'm always ready to respond to you. If you have any questions, if you have anything to just say to me, we can just chit chat and all of that. So that's what's up on Boom 1000. I'll see you again next time.